Hey everyone, John from Trizity Traveling. Today's update, let's see, today is April 6th. My sports update for today, Seattle Mariners. It's a week later than last week, of course. That's a silly statement. It's been another week of the season, and currently my Mariners are 7-2. That's pretty good right now. As I said, this is the season of optimism, so you never know what's going to happen later. But again, it's a good start. In other news, my Mighty Ducks, or they're no longer mighty, especially this year. They're not even in the playoffs this year. But they did beat the, I'll call them disliked. I don't hate the Kings, but they beat the disliked Kings in the freeway face-off last night. Today's trip report includes a visit to the SkyClub in Washington, D.C. I didn't see any other lounges in D.C. This flight returning to Atlanta, this is the end of my milk run. Because I have so many flights from Boise to Salt Lake City, I end up getting my status based mostly on segments and not necessarily miles. Although because I went to Europe last year, I was able to get my gold status based on miles. So just kind of 2 more segments wrapping up today. Today's flight is in first class, domestic first class. There's a lot of discussion on the interwebs about, first class, international first class, domestic first class. They're very different. Let's see. I think the flight today from Washington, D.C., just a little bit over an hour. We were actually requested to get to the gate early. I don't know that I've ever had a request to leave early, which we did. But then we sat at the end of the runway and had to wait. So we did leave the gate early, but we didn't actually leave DC early. So it's kind of a weird thing. I actually was in the Sky Club when I got the notice to get to the gate. So I think we pushed back from the gate about 15 minutes early. But again, we waited at the end of the runway. I've included some of the arriving traffic while we were waiting. The movie I watched was The Meg. Anyway, good way to fill an hour and a half, something like that. Kind of a Jaws remake, kind of, sort of. But anyway, wasn't terrible, wasn't great. Definitely did win an Oscar. So regardless of that, I hope you enjoy today's trip report. One last thing I will mention, I'm going to overlay on my voice here some shots of my new website. I've moved over to WordPress. As a WordPress site, I'll be doing some short blogging about each trip report and then some of my other experiences. The only one I've really got up there right now is, of course, the Maldives, because that was such an amazing place. Can't wait to go back. On the website, I'll also do gear reviews. I will be blogging about the vlog, I guess is the way to say that. That sounds it's a blog. Anyway. So I'll be linking the gear reviews from YouTube to the WordPress site as well. So check those out. And those of you who don't know my YouTube, I have links to YouTube, Instagram, and my Twitter feeds. And the latest of those are at the bottom of my website. So I suppose some of you might be finding me via WordPress. So for those of you who are doing that, welcome. And I hope you enjoy the site and my content. And I will talk to you next week. See ya. Beep. And now the rest of the story. Welcome to Reagan National, DCA. As I mentioned, this is my first visit to Washington, D.C., period. Never been there before. Lucky enough to visit the Sky Club. As this is my first visit, I don't know what to expect. Hoping for some views of some of Washington, D.C. Not super crowded in the Sky Club, and I was aiming for the corner over here, but there was a dude, he was basically hogging 4 seats in the corner. Food selections, I believe that's vegetable chowder. I don't know what the rest of these things are. Sandwiches, cannot have those for sure. Lots of gluten there. Hummus, not a big fan of hummus, but it is gluten-free. I believe that's a quinoa salad. Very colorful. That's what I really wanted. Those little cupcakes looked delicious. And stay hydrated while traveling. The guy finally did move and I got the corner seat. You could just see the Washington Monument and the Capitol Dome from the corner there. The flight boarded about 15 minutes early. I got the notice when I was upstairs, so I didn't actually get to eat anything in the SkyClub. I took a look at it, but I didn't really get to eat. And we were kind of rushed to board. Morning. How are you doing? Or is it after? It's not afternoon yet. Morning-ish.
Maybe. I'm not that athletic.
Orange juice for pre-departure drink. Nice big roomy lounge chair up in first class, domestic first class, and off we went.
By last time we spoke, we should be landing in around 2:15 local time, and then hopefully have you at the gate right on schedule. Thank you.
As I mentioned in the intro, we did depart the gate early, but then we were lined up at the end of the runway. Multiple arrivals while we were waiting. And if you watch the Flight 2 DCA, weather hasn't changed. It was only on the ground for maybe an hour and a half. My big hope today was to be able to see some of DC. When departing to the north, you'll take a big left turn shortly after departure. So there's not a chance to see much in DC when the cloud deck is quite low like it is on this particular day, which is kind of a bummer. Just like that, we're up in the clouds. I didn't realize, had I sat on the other side of the plane, I might have been able to catch a glimpse of the Pentagon. Since you turn away from DC and the Pentagon is on the Virginia side, so I have to remember that next time. No meal today, just a snack in first class, and the flight route is essentially down the Appalachian mountain chain. Some light chop along the way. Pilot found a fairly nice place between the layers of clouds.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we prepare for landing, please ensure that your seatbelt is securely fastened, your seat back and tray table are in their upright and locked position, and your arm rest is lower. We will be landing shortly.
And if you see going through the clouds, there is another aircraft going to land on the parallel runway. There he is below the clouds. It's either a CRJ or an MD-90, most likely. They're landing up on the north runways, and I believe we're landing on 27 left today. Departed off 27 right. Skyline view before landing. When you're landing on 27 left, you are arriving over what we would call, those of us who watch airplanes in Atlanta, at least friends of Matt, would call the Sky Meadow. There's a grassy area right before the threshold of the runway where we've watched airplanes before. It's a nice little area. Sky Meadow right about now. And welcome back to Atlanta. This flight was on Friday, March 1st. I was seated in 2D on this particular flight.
It's our pleasure to welcome you to Atlanta, where the local time is 2:12 p.m. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened and your carry-on items stowed until the aircraft is parked at the gate and the captain has turned off the seatbelt sign. That will be the only indication that it is safe to get up. Please be careful when opening overhead bins to avoid injury from items that may have shifted during flight. Feel free to use your mobile devices. Before leaving the aircraft, take a quick look around your seat and make sure you have everything that you brought on board. Your satisfaction is always important to us. In the next several days' time, you may receive an email survey from Delta asking you to rate your travel experience. We value your feedback. Please take a few moments to let us know how we're doing.
A nice, uneventful flight.
To hearing from you.
When you're pulling into the gate, you never know what might come by, like this lovely Air France 777. And a departing 76. 1 hour, 24 minutes from Washington, D.C. back to Atlanta. I hope you enjoyed today's flight, and we'll take the opportunity to like, comment, and subscribe. If you click the reminder bell, you'll be notified of new content when I upload. Upcoming trips will include flights to Vancouver, British Columbia. And as always, happy travels.